The International Space Station is expected to retire by the end of this decade, and space agencies are already preparing for what comes next. Instead of building another government-owned station, the focus is shifting toward commercially operated platforms in low Earth orbit. One of the latest entrants is Max Space, a startup developing expandable space station modules that launch compactly and expand in orbit to create large, flexible interiors. The concept could reshape how future space stations are built and operated. In this video, we will explore what Max Space is building, why expandable stations matter, and what this means for the post-ISS era. Let's get started. As the International Space Station approaches the end of its operational life, NASA has made it clear that it does not plan to replace it with another government-owned platform. Instead, the agency intends to transition to a commercial model, where private companies build and operate space stations, while government agencies purchase access and services. This shift has encouraged several companies to propose new station concepts, each attempting to address the high cost and complexity that define the ISS era. One of those companies is Max Space, which is developing expandable habitats designed to launch in a compact configuration and then deploy in orbit to create significantly larger interior volumes. The station concept Max Space has outlined is called Thunderbird. It is designed to support a crew of 4 and expand to around 350 cubic meters of pressurized volume. What makes Thunderbird notable is not just its size, but how that volume is achieved. Unlike traditional stations that require many launches and complex assembly in orbit, Thunderbird is designed to launch fully assembled on a single medium-lift rocket. This is made possible through the use of layered soft materials that fold during launch and expand once in space. After deployment, the habitat becomes rigid and pressurized, functioning as a long-duration living and working environment. By reducing the number of launches and eliminating on-orbit assembly, this approach aims to lower both cost and operational risk. Max Space initially positioned itself as a supplier of expandable modules to other station developers. That strategy changed after NASA revised its commercial low Earth orbit destinations program, indicating that it would support multiple commercial stations rather than selecting a single successor to the ISS. Following that announcement, Max Space confirmed that it would pursue its own station concept instead of remaining solely a component provider. While Thunderbird is intended for low Earth orbit, the company has also stated that the same expandable habitat architecture could be adapted for use on the Moon, Mars, and deep space transit missions. In this sense, Thunderbird is presented not as an isolated project, but as the first operational example of a broader approach to space habitation. Expandable habitats are not a new idea. NASA has already tested inflatable structures through the Bigelow Expandable Activity Module, which has been attached to the ISS since 2016. That experiment demonstrated that soft goods structures can survive radiation exposure, thermal cycling, and micrometeoroid impacts over extended periods. What distinguishes the Max Space proposal is the scale and intent of its application. Instead of treating expandable structures as experimental add-ons, the company is proposing them as the primary building blocks of a fully operational space station designed for continuous human use. From an engineering standpoint, the primary advantage of expandable habitats is volume efficiency. Traditional rigid modules are constrained by rocket fairing dimensions, limiting how much habitable space can be launched at once. Expandable structures invert this constraint by minimizing launch volume and maximizing deployed interior space. This increase in usable volume has direct implications for microgravity research. Many experiments, particularly in materials science, pharmaceuticals, and in-space manufacturing, benefit from larger and more adaptable workspaces. Fixed layouts and narrow interiors can restrict the size of equipment, limit workflow efficiency, and reduce flexibility as mission requirements evolve. Max Space has emphasized interior reconfigurability as a central design principle. Instead of locking systems such as cabling, utilities, and experiment racks into permanent positions, the station is designed to allow easier access and repositioning. This approach reflects lessons learned from the ISS, where incremental upgrades over many years led to cluttered interiors and limited adaptability. Human factors are also a core part of the design philosophy. Former NASA astronaut Nicole Stott contributed to the interior layout, drawing on her experience from long-duration missions aboard the ISS. Over time, the ISS became increasingly congested as new systems were added to keep it operational, often without the ability to reorganize existing hardware. Expandable habitats allow for wider interiors, dedicated routing paths for cables and utilities, and modular activity zones. Features such as adjustable handholds, foot restraints, and grouped work areas are intended to improve crew efficiency and reduce physical strain in microgravity. These design choices are aimed at supporting sustained human presence rather than short-term missions. Safety is addressed through multi-layered construction rather than reliance on single rigid walls. Expandable habitats incorporate multiple gas barriers, micrometeoroid protection layers, and advanced fabrics designed to exceed the safety margins of traditional metallic pressure vessels. Extensive ground testing under extreme conditions is intended to validate these structures before flight. Together, these design elements reflect a broader scientific goal, moving from experimental orbital outposts toward environments capable of supporting routine, long-duration human activity in space. If expandable stations like Thunderbird perform as intended, they could significantly alter how low Earth orbit is organized and utilized. Instead of relying on a single, large international platform, the post-ISS environment may consist of multiple commercially operated stations, each serving different purposes. Some may focus on government research, others on industrial applications, and others on national or private missions. This distributed model could increase resilience and flexibility in orbital infrastructure. For NASA and other space agencies, this approach reduces long-term ownership costs while preserving access to microgravity research and human spaceflight. It mirrors the transition already seen in launch services, where agencies now purchase flights from commercial providers rather than developing and maintaining their own rockets. Lower deployment and assembly costs could also broaden access to space. Universities, smaller research institutions, and emerging space nations may find it easier to conduct experiments in orbit without relying exclusively on large government programs. This could lead to a more diverse range of research and commercial activity in low Earth orbit. Beyond Earth orbit, expandable habitats may play a role in future exploration missions. Lunar and Martian missions face strict mass and volume constraints, and habitats that can launch compactly and expand at their destination offer logistical advantages for surface bases and long-duration transit vehicles. Max Space plans to validate its technology through a prototype mission later in the decade. If successful, a full-scale Thunderbird station could follow, potentially operating alongside the ISS during its final years, or assuming some of its functions after retirement. What remains uncertain is how demand for commercial station services will evolve. Whether these platforms primarily support government research, industrial manufacturing, or mixed-use operations will depend on economics, regulatory frameworks, and sustained investment. What is clear is that the era of singular, government-owned orbital infrastructure is drawing to a close. In its place, a more distributed and commercially driven ecosystem is beginning to take shape. As the ISS approaches retirement, commercial space stations are becoming the foundation of the next phase of human activity in orbit. Expandable habitats like those proposed by Max Space suggest a shift toward more flexible, scalable, and human-focused space infrastructure. Whether this model succeeds will be decided in orbit, but it clearly signals how the post-ISS era is beginning to take shape.